Yeah. Say, so, come say hi to the camera. Say hi.
Hi,
What's your name?
Denisa.
Yeah. What's your name?
Krishantia.
Yeah.
Devonique.
And
Dominica.
yeah. So what we're talking about today? Today we're talking about racism. So what do you guys know about racism? Like, yeah, in this country, basically, innit? Because you was all born, yeah. So yeah. What do you understand about racism, Dominica?
What I understand racism is that it's when a group of people is basically prejudiced to another group of people. So say for example, stereotypes. It's I don't know how to put it, but just when someone's rude to someone else about where they're from or how they look like or something like that.
I don't think it's about someone in it. I think it's about a next race of people being rude to a next race of people. That's what racism is. What's your take, Shantia?
Just someone or a group of people commenting or being rude to someone else about the way they look, so their skin color or the way that they are, their culture and stuff.
And Dave?
Racism is where one group of people are discriminating another group of people for their race or where they're from, their heritage, or what they look like.
So have any one of you ever experienced racism?
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
I have.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
In what context? What happened?
One time, well, obviously I go to a school in a very white area, so there's a Tesco near my school, and one time I was with my friend, and they thought that we stole chewing gum from Tesco, and my friend, she's mixed race, but she looks darker, and we were just walking. They stopped us, and it was 8:25. The gate closed at 8:30, so we needed to get to school because this was before school. And then they stopped us. They wouldn't let us go to school. So we were arguing about because I was saying can we just go to school? You can call the school. We didn't do anything. You can call the school, whatever. But can we just go? They let us go. And to this day, this was last year. To this day, I'm still bad from let's go for not doing anything. But yeah.
Well, how come I never heard about this?
I just don't.
You never told me about that. I don't know. Have you told your mom about that?
Well, yeah, because the day after, I called mom and I was like, "Mom, I'm back this." But no, I still really find it because there's another shop that I can go to. I don't really care. But yeah.
So, what made you think that what made you think that they was being racist?
Because we didn't do anything, and we were the only people that we stopped. And I know for a fact that other people steal from there. I know that, but I don't do that because there's no need for me to do that.
So you thought that because of you was black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and your friend didn't take anything either.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know in it because obviously I wasn't born in this country, so I don't really know a lot about how it used to be back in the day. So, but my experience is when I used to be working, and for example, when I used to go for jobs in town for interviews, I would go I would go in interviews, and I would be sat there say for example with 5-6 people in it, and those are maybe of different complexions or whatever, yeah, from different race, and they would go inside the office or the room, and they would be in there for maybe 15-20 minutes, in an interview, in it, like a proper interview. And then when it gets to me, I used to go in and I would be there in maybe 3 minutes, if that. And they would say to me, "Oh, we'd give you a call." But then part of it was to do with the area that I lived in, but I didn't realize that at the time because Moss Side was a very bad postcode in it. So once you'd gone in, you'd fill the application out, then you've gone in, and then they would have looked and seen your postcode, then that would have become, an issue where they would be looking down on you in a somewhat way. But for me, I didn't really understand there and then what was going on until much later, and I start understanding that okay, it was the postcode. So I wouldn't say it was technical racism, but from what I heard, and us being here now as like black people living in this country, yeah. So for example, when our um foreparents, I would say, like would come over to this country like in the 1940s, 1950s, yeah, onwards 60s, yeah. Um so they invited us to this country and they said, oh, we should come here. So 1942, I think it was the um, World War Two, and they people from the Caribbean came to this country to fight as soldiers because the Caribbean was part of the Commonwealth, which is Britain run the Commonwealth. So they used to like use us. So we fought the war with them, and then after that, they said, okay, they need people to help to build the economy. So they sent to Jamaica. So have you guys heard of the Windrush?
Yeah.
So the Windrush was the name of a ship that was used to bring people from the Caribbean, so from Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, wherever the Caribbean over, you know what I mean, they had to come to the UK. So when they came here, from my understanding, those people was then they lived a very hard life because once they used to be told that there was no blacks allowed. So for example, in the shops, they would say no dogs, no blacks, no Irish. Have you ever heard that term before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where have you heard that term?
In school.
Yes, I've heard it from you.
You heard it from me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You heard that in school?
Yeah. In
So-
history.
In history.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they taught you guys that in history.
Yeah.
What did they say? Put your game down. What did they say?
They just told us, like, we were learning about it in history, and they were just telling us that, like, from like pubs and bars and stuff, that on like the doors there would be a sign saying no blacks, no dogs, and no Irish.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. And what did you guys thought about that? Because that's not nice, is it?
No.
Yeah. So imagine, like living in that time, and then was being told like you was working in the economy to, like, what I mean, you're paying your taxes, you're doing all that, yeah, and then to be told that you was not allowed in, what I mean, in a certain. How would that make you guys feel?
I'm angry.
Yeah. So imagine what those guys went through, have been through. Yeah. If when they was being told, stop messing about this sister. Yeah. When they was being told that they wasn't allowed, what I mean, no dogs, no blacks, no Irish in it. Like that's very deep. Yeah. So in history, at least they taught you guys that because that's part of, what I mean. But a lot of kids, I don't think they are aware of what went on back in the day. Like, what I mean, like to what black people used to go through in this country. So yeah, it was very bad. I didn't experience it because, like I said, I wasn't there in it. So you know what I mean. So I've just going up. So you used to have people like I've been told like you used to have people who came down and like from different areas. They would come down in Moss Side looking for black people to fight. You know what I mean? Yeah, he used to have like a group I heard about called the Teddy Boys. They was like a white group, and they would come down and they would look for black people to fight and to beat up. You know what I mean? So it was, yeah, it was bad from what I heard. So I thought it was very important for you guys to be aware of, like, you know what I mean, things that um happened before, so you guys don't think that you guys are just walking about here for like free. A lot of people lost their lives, their freedom, all that they fought just to make sure that we are able to be here today to walk in so-called free, even though we're not free technically, but yeah, we're somewhat free in it. Yeah. So I think that's very important. Yeah. What do you guys know about Marcus Garvey? What do you know about Marcus Garvey?
I remember you used to tell me about it when I was little, but I don't really remember anymore. But I know he's from Jamaica and that, but I've kind of forgot.
What do you know? You know who Marcus Garvey is?
No.
You know who Marcus Garvey is?
I kind of recognize his name, but I don't know anything.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know who Martin Luther King is?
Yeah.
Who's Martin Luther King?
He was like an activist in America, and he like fought for like black people, but like everyone's rights to have like freedom in America. So like to stop like segregation.
Mm. You know who Martin Luther King is, Dominican?
Yeah.
Who is that?
He's a civil rights activist. He fought. He was the one that did the "I Have a Dream" speech, and he fought to end segregation. Like same with like Malcolm X and Rosa Parks. Like he was part of like that.
Do you know
Yeah.
who is that? Yeah.
Martin Luther King, he's an activist. He said the I Have a Dream speech, and he fought for black people's rights.
So before Martin Luther King, there was a person called Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He's from Jamaica. He was born in St. Anne's, Jamaica. So all of those movements, you have Martin Luther King, what's the next one after him? Malcolm X, all those guys.
Mm.
Martin Luther, Marcus Garvey was the first one. He came from Jamaica, went to America, and he was the one who was leading all those organizations, yeah, fighting for civil rights and whatever for black people. Yeah. I'm sure he's one of the first persons to have like a million man march or something like that. Yeah. So a million black people from all. And picture this, this is a guy from Jamaica who went to America and he had the, yeah. But they've not told a lot about him. Because like you guys said in it, you guys hardly even heard anything about him, but he was before them people that you guys are talking about. And he had the greatest impact, yeah, out of all them people. Those people just came and pick up the organization after he died, and they reap or they success and reap the progress because he already did the job, if that makes sense. But what happened is the whole organization in the US, they tried to make sure they got rid of him. So they fought him, and then they ended up deported him from America to Jamaica. So Marcus Garvey was the first black person or the first person to ever been deported from a country. And that's how they came up with deportation laws. Yeah. So when people was like didn't act in the way that they're supposed to act or did certain things, they come up with deportation and they deport these people. Yeah, so he was like one of the first one. And then he left, he went Jamaica. We been left obviously they deported to Jamaica. And then he came to Britain. He was living in Britain for quite some time. And then so firstly, Marcus Garvey was a journalist. He used to write newspapers like columns in the newspaper because he used to work in the shop because I read a bit about him. And then yeah, like I said, as time goes on, he built. But then when he went to Jamaica, then he came to the UK and then he resided in the UK for a bit because I'm sure he died in the UK. He was not well, and then after a time, rumors was going about that you passed away, and I heard that you read. Well, I read that you was reading the paper, and the paper said he died, and he got so hungry, and he actually had an heart attack and then died.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah. So okay. So yeah, that's what yeah. But these people are people that you guys should know about. Yeah. Have you heard about Nanny of the Maroon?
Yeah.
You heard none of you heard about Nanny of the Maroon?
her name's familiar.
Yeah. So who's Nanny of the Maroon?
I've heard a little bit because you told me. But she fight in Jamaica? She fought for
Yeah.
something. What?
Yeah. So she fought. So in Jamaica, there's a tribe of people called the Maroons. So for someone like me, people told me I'm from the Maroon tribe. Obviously, I haven't got any direct connections, because obviously back in the day, people would really stick to those, you know what I mean? So maybe I'm from some, you know what I mean? Maybe my granddad or my great granddad was from whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know, but people, Maroon is like dark, like how my complexion is, like a very dark tribe. But not everyone is that, because people lived in the area now, because you got a place called Maroon Town, yeah, which is called a compound in Jamaica. So which is where everyone lived there is Maroon. Yeah. So basically it's not about really a complexion, but Maroon is a tribe. So yeah, basically those people are exempt from certain rules and laws in Jamaica. They don't pay taxes, they don't certain things they don't, you know what I mean? They don't abide by certain rules because they are seen as yeah. But Nanny of the Maroons, she was the leader, and then when the Britain, because Britain went to fight Jamaica, you know, so that's how Britain captured Jamaica and was ruling over Jamaica, innit? Yeah. So when the British soldiers went there to fight, they had guns and that. None of these people had no weapons or nothing, and they managed to beat the people with the guns in it. Like, how did they do that in it? But Nanny was one of the main character behind everything, because she ended up fighting the whole battle, bringing the whole thing on her shoulder. She was like the master plan behind everything. Yeah. And she was a woman, innit?
Yeah.
Not even a man, innit? Because he could understand. Yeah. If you know what I mean? Because you'd expect a man to be the one who lead those type of situation.
Yeah.
So she was a great woman. Have you not got your phone?
Yeah.
So Google her name and see what it says about her. Just Google. Yeah. Nanny after Maroons, yeah. And then read what it says. She's gonna read it, yeah, sure. So there's a photo. You see a photo?
Yeah, I've
No.
seen her face before.
Never seen it
You never
before.
seen it before?
No.
Yeah. So it's very important. So read it then, Monica.
Queen Nanny, Granny Nanny, or Nanny of the Maroons (ONH) was an early 18th century freedom fighter and a leader of the Jamaican Maroons. She led a community of formerly enslaved escapee slaves, the majority of them West African descent, called the Windward Maroons, along with their children and families.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the 18th century, under the leadership of Nanny and the Windward Maroons, for a
Gorilla.
guerrilla
War.
war lasting many years against British authorities in the colony of Jamaica, in what became known as the First Marine War.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's what he told you about Nanny. Nanny was like said she was the leader of that tribe, and she was, yeah, like they said to you, the Maroons are a tribe from Africa. Well, basically descendant from, well, we all are from Africa, you know that. So every black people are from Africa. So some people don't own it. They say, oh, we're not because we was born in Britain, was born, everyone was born there. So for for someone like you guys who was born here now, yeah, you've got some people who born here now and they call themselves English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you guys have to understand the term, the term English. English, an English person is of Caucasian. Caucasian is a white person.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a black English person. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people give themselves the terms and said, oh, I was born in England, so I'm English. So that's why, if you notice, on you guys' passport, it will say black British.
Yeah.
It doesn't say black English.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are ignorant to the fact, and they will say, okay, oh, we are English, oh, English, they can't do nothing, they can't do. You're not English, you're British, you're black British.
Yeah.
So that means if you're black, you're not from this country. Descendants are not from this country.
Mm-hmm.
You're from a next country. Yeah, it's just like if you were supposed to be filling a form out, the first thing it asks you, like, what's your nationality? It doesn't say, okay, it doesn't have English on it. You say, are you black British? Yeah. You understand that that's how are you African? I don't know, but it's that's how it terms it. Like everyone's got like you know what I mean, yeah, a section where you belong to identity wise, yeah, and that's how they identify as, yeah. So it's very important for you guys to know that okay, so you was not born there, but you are from. So technically, how it works, wherever your mom is from, that's where you are from. That's how the British thing works. Yeah. So if if Britain, and tell the moon not to do that, please onto the phone. So wherever you're born, yeah, so for example, your mum was born in Britain, yeah.
Yeah.
But you'd say, okay, you're a British technically, but her mum, where was she born?
In Jamaica.
Exactly. So that makes your mum Jamaican technically, yeah, which makes you a Jamaican technically, yeah. So that's how it works. So it's wherever your mum was born, yeah. That's where whatever your mum nationality should have say, yeah, that's your nationality as well. So even though you was born in Britain, that don't mean you are a British technically. Yeah, you are still classed as a Jamaican in somewhat sense because you take the nationality of your parents. Yeah, not so much your dad. It's more of your mum. Yeah, and that's how they do it. So the whole lesson is got to is trying to know your roots, trying to know where you're from, and like I said, if anyone ever call you guys African, you don't take offense to it because somewhere down the line, your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, tenth generation was from Africa, yeah, and obviously they were sent to Jamaica on the slave trade,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then basically they're working on plantations because you guys heard about slaves, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you
Yes.
learned about slaves in school?
And they were just people, but then like the British or like the European came over and like invaded their countries and like beat them and like deported them like to different countries around the world and like he used them to like do jobs and like work with them.
What did you learn about slaves?
Well, I learned all different types of like ways that they kind of treated slaves. So some people they were put on boats and ships and they were like slaves there. Some people were just slaves on cotton fields and they were getting abused. Some people were getting sold and eaten and abused slaves.
What did you learn about slavery?
I barely learn anything about slaves because I don't even know why. But like the only lesson, because now I don't do history anymore. But when I did, I only had one lesson about slaves the whole time in the
You
3 years,
one lesson about slaves.
or two, I think. But yeah.
So basically, slave, slave wasn't being invaded. They just slave was so it started from Africa. Yeah, where so for example, you had bad people in Africa who was like capturing people and then selling them to like the white slave masters. So they would have gone to Africa on their boats or ships, and they would have gone to like a specific area. That's why they said like some Jamaicans look like Ghanaians, or some look like Nigerians, or Nigerians act like Jamaicans or whatever. Because, like I said, we are from Africa and we are from different parts of Africa. So, for example, the ship would have gone there. Um, they would have someone would have rounded us up, yeah, with guns and whatever, yeah, shackled us and then sold us to those guys. So slavery wasn't really being just created by the white person only. There was people who were selling their own black people to the white person, if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they was them being put on ships, then sail across the ocean to the Caribbean, yeah, which was all the Caribbean island, because those places now the sun was hot. You could get like stuff growing like sugar cane, cottons, stuff like that, which was needed in like abundance. Like people need all that. Yeah. So that's what they had them there doing, working on plantations, yeah, for time and paying them little or nothing really or nothing. Yeah. And abusing them, doing all sorts to them in it, yeah. So people had to try and run away and make do of what they've got and then try and start forming their own kind of circle. And it wasn't, I'm not sure because I don't really want to say, but what I'm not sure of, but I'm not sure when it was that the slave was free or slavery was made illegal, yeah, in some countries. And then black people was able to start like doing their own thing. But it wasn't just in the Caribbean, because you have to remember America had one of the biggest slaves plantations. Yeah, when you go places like Georgia and Texas, those places was racist, but they had slaves working there in it, like in mass. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why you got so many black people in America, because they come from that era. But then they was allowed, or they it wasn't allowed, but they built their own community at one point. Yeah. So they start like building owning their own businesses. Like for example, they've got their own, because like black people wasn't allowed to drive on the same bus as white people. So they would have their own bus company, their own taxi company. They would have their own, you know what I mean? Yeah, supermarket, stuff like that. Yeah. So they had their own banks, because you heard of a place in America called I think it's Tesla. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where like there was like one of the first black owned community, black business, where they had their own, you know what I mean? But then what happened is they burned it down to the ground. So all those black businesses that the people them fought and built, and you know what I mean? So everything that they owned just gone up in flames. Yeah. They had their own banks, they had their own, so they didn't need nothing outside to survive. And then back in them days, the black community was a lot stronger. Yeah, because now, as it is now, we are not as strong as we supposed to be, because we should have had our own. We should have had people in higher positions. You know what I mean? I'm saying like running banks, running, You know what I mean? Just big organization, media, all of that. Now in America, it's a bit more than like you know what I mean, than Britain, because Britain is a white country. But like I said, in America, it is a white country, but you've got more blacks are in higher places in America, as you see the American president, one of the American president, Obama, who was black, or he's black, yeah. And you've got this lady now coming up here called Camila Harris. She's running for the presidency. You know what I'm saying? In Britain, you still don't see that. So all of this, it shows you that basically, like I said, the difference between the countries and, like I said, the how organized or how unorganized we are as a people in this country. You know what I mean? Because in Parliament, in British Parliament, you maybe have maybe two or three black persons. David Lammy, there's the name Teresa Douglas, whatever, Teresa Abbott or whatever her name is, and can't remember who it is. Yeah, but you've got more Asians, more white than you have blacks. So black people in this country, a lot of us are doing good, are better for ourselves, but we're still not in those big positions to like change things for the future generation. So it's up to you guys and the younger ones now coming in and like trying to get things changed on a different level. You know what I mean? Make the difference between, you know what I mean? Because for me, I don't see that. Like I said, in America, it's a lot more organized, even though, yeah, there's segregation there. Yeah. But what you said before with Martin Luther King fighting for civil rights, some people said it was good, but some people said it was bad. So, what's your guy opinion? Do you think civil rights was good, Deja? Do you know what civil rights is? You
Um,
understand it?
I don't have like I don't know the full definition.
So, the definition is civil rights is having the rights like everyone, the same rights as the white person
Oh,
does.
yeah,
Yeah, and then yeah, but back in the day, the black person wouldn't have that right as you know what I mean, yeah. But then they would still be able to do certain things. So, for example, they wasn't allowed to vote.
yeah,
Yeah. So now, being in the civil now, they would allow to do all those things. Yeah. But back in the day, they wasn't allowed to do those things. So
yeah,
that's the difference. So now they feeling like okay, they can mix. They wasn't allowed to drive on the white person's bus. Now they can drive on the white person's bus. They wasn't allowed to go to the white person's doctor. Now they can go to the white person's doctor. But most people would still say, like I just explained to you before, even though we wasn't allowed to do those things, we had our own things
yeah,
in those same contexts. Yeah. So we had our own doctors, we had our own, you know what I'm saying to you? Yeah.
yeah,
We had our own bus companies, we had our own. Yeah. So by getting that, people seems to like forget the old fight that they've been through to like to create what they've got and what they owned.
yeah,
Yeah. But then now because everyone is looking at that civil rights, people are telling themselves, oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that, yeah, no one's better than me. That person is not so it's almost as if they forget their own culture, the roots, where they're coming from and how long they fought to get where they are today.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know in it. For me personally, I don't think um, civil rights was something that helped us because maybe if we didn't have that, we'd have been a lot more in. You know what I mean? So for example, now obviously everyone is allowed to civil rights in this world now. In it, it's like it's different in it.
yeah,
But I'm just using an example. Like for example, now in the Asian community, their unity is much more like we used to be back in the day.
yeah,
So we used to come together. We used to put our money together. We'd okay buy that business, buy that property, we'd own it.
Yeah.
That's how the Asian people do it now. They come together, put together, you know what I mean, yeah. They send the kids to private schools, yeah, and you know what I mean, yeah, and then those kids then end up going in big jobs, yeah, getting because obviously they've learned, they've been through that, they've done what they need to do to get in those positions. Now they are in positions where they can change the dynamics among, you know what I mean, the generation or the population because they are in high position. Yeah. So as you could see the guy there the other day, what's his name? Richard Sunak, the British,
Rishi Sunak.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was the British Prime Minister. You understand? Then you have the lady for immigration, who she called Priti Patel. She was Asian. Yeah. So these are positions that you're in that you can change things, innit? And
Yeah.
then, like I pointed out to you guys before, in the parliament itself, there's only like two or three black persons, and they are not even nowhere really because they can't even speak to represent. You know what I mean? Most of us. So if we had them, even though we're talking about America and that civil rights thing, but it's the same thing across the board. If we had that thing before civil rights, like the same way here, we would be able to have a community that would be striving in its way, in its own way,
Yeah.
where we'd be a lot more successful in what we do because we'd be seeing things differently.
Yeah.
But now because we get so carefree, we start looking at things like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, I can do this or I can do that. No one can't stop me from doing this. No one can't stop. I've got the rights to.
Yeah.
But when you know you didn't have the rights to do that, you was carrying on doing your own thing, which was getting you as a community in a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I personally think that I think I kind of get both sides that it was better when there was no civil rights, but I also feel like it's still good that we do have the civil rights because when it came to back in the days when there was no civil rights, we still had kind of worse things than the white people. So even if we did have our own doctors, our own bathrooms, our bathrooms were still worse than the white people's because it was a white owned country. So I don't know, but it kind of did unite um the community because it's like we were all going through the same thing. But at the same time, I feel like it is good where it is now because we all have the right to do anything the same as white people as well.
Yeah, but we say we have, but we haven't.
It's still not
Exactly. So that's what I'm
there, but
saying. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So we can say it's okay to have that freedom, but technically we haven't got that freedom because, for example, if a black person and a white person should commit the same crime, yeah, do you think when they go to court or to prison they will get the same time?
no.
Exactly. So therefore, we haven't got it the way we thinking we have it, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. That's the issue because the way we think, we are thinking that yeah, it's okay to have this, it's okay to have that. No, the example you use is a good example. Like you're saying, okay, yeah, the white bathroom may be better than the in a more, you know what I mean. But what you have to remember is cleanliness is godliness, isn't it?
Yeah.
So no matter what, I was being taught that no matter what clothes I've got on, as long as it's clean, that's what matters, isn't it? So it don't matter if the next person is wearing this Balenciaga or whatever they've got. That don't make them better than me because mine is like from Primark, you know. As long
Yeah.
as my clothes is clean and I've ironed it, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that should be the mindset where
Yeah.
it's how we should be thinking, and so we value what we have
Yeah.
rather than trying to get what someone else have.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I would say Martin Luther has gone wrong with the civil rights because we was wishing to have what they have, but we will never have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We think we have, or they let us believe we have, but technically we haven't. You know what I mean? Because like I just used the example, if we should, for example, like Nika was saying, when she went in that Tesco, there was other kids there from other races that they most likely stole from that shop on that same day, and they wasn't being stopped, they wasn't being searched, but because she think that she was black, she got searched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying to you. So even though you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm British, I'm born, and they can't do me nothing, whatever, whatever," but then right away you see that as some form of um 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 what you call it, discrimination. Yeah,
Yeah.
discriminate because you're a black person. So um,
Mm.
it works in some ways, and it works and it doesn't work because, like I said, for some people it does, but for some people, the main thing is for you guys, like I'm saying, is just to remember where you guys are from
Yeah.
and try and always remember you won't have it the same way as the next person does. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially a person of a different race. Yeah,
Mm.
you won't ever have it that way. So the more you guys remember that and stay in tune with that, then the better it will be for you guys. Because the moment you guys get carried away and start believing that you're entitled to because you was born here and this and that, then that's the issue. That's the moment when you guys gonna have main issues. Because then when the reality strikes, then you know what I mean. Yeah, you've seen it in loads of schools where boys just getting kicked out and they're saying, oh, they've got this, they've got that because of behavioral problem, whatever, whatever. And these guys are just being boys, in it. But then the next race of boys might do the same thing and they might not get expelled, you know?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? How many times have you seen in your school when the kids got in trouble for stuff that you see other kids does from other race that they haven't because your school is a bit different.
A lot.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because like the white boys, yeah,
Speak
like
up properly.
the white boys, they'll like get in trouble. No, they'll like get like, oh, you didn't walk out of class today. Like you get star points, like achievement points, something like that. And then like obviously I'm like friends with like black people in my year, and like, I'll see that one of my black friends, he'll like get and he'll be like, oh, I got detention for talking today, but then I'll literally be in the lesson with like to my people, those who speak and teacher will be like, oh, please just stop. Like, what? It doesn't make any sense, to be
And
honest.
it doesn't, innit? And that's what you call discrimination. Because right away there, you see, they're doing what they're doing, but then one's punished more severely than the other. And it's the same thing, you know what I mean, when you look across the board in America, you know what I mean, like I said, in the UK, wherever, black people. So I don't want you guys to be, like I said, walking about feeling entitled, like, oh, yeah, 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 you know what I mean, you've got the same rights because you haven't. Yeah, you might, the law might says you have, but then coming to court, yeah, it's like I know these two guys, yeah, so they were smoking, one's white, one's black, two different situation. So the white guy, he's gone to court, they caught him smoking, he's gone to court. After about 3 months, he was able to write them and told them that um because of his job, XYZ, yeah, he needs to get his license back. Christmas was coming, they give him his license back, and he's got his license back, yeah, for whatever reasons. Now, this black guy, the smoking limit is called 2.0, is like drink driving. You're allowed to blow a certain amount. So 2.0 is where your legal limit is. I know this guy blew 2.7, which is just zero point 0.7 over, yeah, and he's got a year ban, and he's gone to court believing that because it's just zero point 0.7 over, they would probably overlook it. Now, I'm not condoning and said, oh, he's right, but like I'm saying, I'm just pointing out how the system works. Yeah. So certain people will get away with certain things, certain people won't, you know? It's just like I was stood inside my shop this morning and a white guy walking and he asks me, he says, he says, do you know where I can get a smoke? So I just said to him, yeah. call 911 and ask them if you know alongside police station, you could go there and they should be able to tell you. Yeah. And it was like, okay. But turn the pages around. Do you think if it was a white guy in that shop working, you'd have walked in and asked them that? Now, it's not impossible for him to ask them that, but the chances of him doing that would be very little. But because you see me as a black guy, you think that I should know someone who smoked weed, so I should be able to give him a number. You understand that? No, to me, that's very disrespectful. Yeah, it's very disrespectful because that's discrimination.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was not happy about that. And me and my mate was in there talking, and then he walked in and he asked me that, and I'm like, why did he think that it was okay to ask me that? Now I will tell you, on a normal day I would have flipped on him, but because he was a older guy, that's why I answered him in the way I did. But if he was like maybe for a younger generation or so, he asked me that, I would have flipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, these things I see them as disrespectful, and it's just the way people do things, isn't it? Yeah, because they expect that of you. They think, oh, you're black, you know what I mean, you're gonna, you know what I mean. And I'm not trying to teach you guys anything to be hateful to any other one. So get that straight. Yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to give you guys notes to protect yourself and the way you guys think, and just know that not because you guys think the law is for everyone, it's going to be protecting you guys. Don't be doing silly stuff with other friends and then thinking, okay, you know what I mean, you're going to have the same luck as they do. Because you won't. You probably won't. You know what I mean? Yeah, for whatever the reasons are. Yeah. So you guys have to just make sure, I said, remember where you're from. Try and read up on your history. Yeah. Because the more you're connected with your history, the more you will be grounded and know where you guys, you know what I mean, what you're about. If you guys understand what people who came here through the Windrush had to go through for us to be here today, walking about, sitting here having this conversation, then you guys would be probably a bit more, you know what I mean? Kashanta, you could speak to your grandma about that because she came here in them times, innit? Yeah, and she'd have had experience where she'd be able to tell you guys about, you know what I mean, about what she'd been through. So maybe you need to speak to her a bit more often and ask her stuff like that because that will teach you guys. It's not about living in the past, but for you to know where you're going, you need to know where you're coming from. Because every other race knows where they are coming from. Because if you look at this, like I said, if you look at if you look at the Chinese man, he still speaks Chinese, but he still speaks English. If you look at the Asian man, he still speaks Arabic, but he still speaks English. You understand? That's because his culture is there, and he's not leaving his culture. He's not letting it out. Why are we leaving our culture out? Why do we come to this country now and thinking, oh yeah, oh I'm not Jamaican, I'm not African? Eh? That's where you're from because if you're black, you're in Africa. Yeah. And then, like I said, if your mom or your grandma is a Jamaican, then technically it makes you Jamaican. Obviously, your dads are Jamaican. So I am a Jamaican. So therefore, that makes you guys a Jamaican. So therefore, none of you should be able to looking down on an ex-Jamaican person and then calling him a yardie or calling him this or calling her a yardie or whatever, because you are a yardie as well if that be the case. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yardie is a derogative word, but I'm just saying if that's how you guys gonna look down on a Jamaican person, then you guys got to look on yourselves first because your parents are Jamaicans. So that don't make you any better than the next Jamaican person. Yeah. So I don't ever want to see you guys in any form of those situations where you guys thinking or feeling that, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're not this or you're not that. Yeah, you're better than these Jamaicans or you're better than these other people. You're not better than no one. Every human being is just a human being. So let's get that straight. But we just need to know our culture, try and, you know what I mean, stick to the principles a bit more. Yeah. We know, if we know where we're from, then we know where we're going. And that's what I'm trying to get into you guys. Yeah. So slowly, but surely, like I said, you guys read more, do more reading. Marcus Garvey, Nanny of the Maroons, Malcolm X, yeah, Martin Luther King. Yeah, you got even previous guys like we said Dick Gregory. Those are names that you guys can look up and read. You know what I mean? Yeah. What was the guy that you called it for after
Margaret.
no, not Malcolm X, you said the next person, Rosa Parker,
Box.
Rosa Parks, people like that, you know, who's made great changes in the black community. You know what I mean? These are people because if you guys don't know this, how are you gonna teach your kids this? Yeah, and then if your kids don't know all these things about themselves, then they're lost. And this is what I'm saying. I'm just saying, going back to the conversation before, the Asian person still reads in Arabic. Yeah, they still fluently speaks that. You could be here having a conversation and then someone else turn up and they just flip like that. Why can't we do that in African language? Hmm? That's because we are forgetting our culture. You understand? Yeah, we are not studying and trying to stay in tune with ourselves. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's very key because one day we're gonna be going back to the motherland anyway because that's Africa, one way or another. You know what I mean? Because that's where we're from. Like I said, we are not from Europe is for the Caucasian person, the white person. Yeah, Africa is for the black person. That's where we're from. No matter which Caribbean country we were sent. You know what I mean? We Jamaicans just have a different attitude because Jamaica was a plantation off where they sent the bad slaves. Yeah. So the slaves who would be very disobedient, they would send them to Jamaica. Yeah, which was seen as like the harder place to be, where you would not want to be because those plantation there are very, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why most Jamaicans got that kind of like that fight, that resistance in them, like that stubbornness. Don't want to listen to no one because they are from that generation. The DNA is there. They are from very rebellious people. The DNA is there. You know what I mean? Yeah. There was only a certain type of slaves that's been sent to Jamaica. So if they was that person, then that means their child, their kids was that person as well, innit? Because it's in the DNA. So that explains us and why we are kind of different from other Caribbean think in whatever sense. Some people say we're ignorant, we're hungry, with this, with that, but we had to be because we faced the worst in slavery. You understand? Yeah. The person from Africa cannot be, won't understand slavery because they never been through slave. You understand the difference? Yeah, because they're from Africa, innit? They've never been through slavery, so they have a different mindset. That's why we fight against each other in Jamaica, like even here now, because we come from Jamaica, we do this, we do things like that. We fight against each other for what reason? So, for example, on the plantation, yeah, Deja is lighter than you. Dominic is darker than you. So, for example, if Dominic was supposed to do something bad on the plantation, they would get either Deja or you would be what they call a house slave. House slave is the person who was in the house who would be able to like cook the food for the master, serve the master. So that would be seen as a easier job.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Demonic is a darker person who be sent on the plantation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now if she done or rebels about anything, yeah, they would get one of you guys to give her 10 lashes with the lash. Yeah. So if you refuses Deidre to give her the 10 lashes, then the master would then lash you 10 lashes. So you're gonna go and you're gonna lash, you're gonna make sure you lash them even though you don't want to, but you have to because you don't want those 10 lashes and you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
She did, and the master want her lashing. So how is this gonna work now? Now you lash Demonica 10 times. She's like, oh, I hate Deja. But you lashed her, but it wasn't your choice about lashing it with the masters, but you know you had to. But now you know you lashed her, you start staying away from her, she now don't like you.
Mm.
You understand how it goes?
Yeah.
Now you have kids, then when you can have kids. You've not speak since that lashing. When you've got your kids, you're gonna tell them stay away from them and Nike. Because I had to lash her 10 times, even though I didn't want to. The master made me lash her, and she don't like me since. Dominica is gonna tell her kids, stay away from Deidre, because she lashed me 10 times. She wicked, very. And then both of you kids, which is the next generation, gonna be growing up at that standoff same way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because both of you kids are gonna be like, oh, yeah, mom said don't talk to her, and like, you understand it? And then that's where it comes in, and then those when then next two kids have generation, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Stay away from her because you know what I mean. Yeah. So this is why we are how we are. Yeah.
Mm.
And if you guys ever heard about a person called Willie Lynch, have you ever heard the name? You know?
No.
Willie Lynch, no? Okay. So Willie Lynch was one of them person who helped to orchestrate. Some people said he helped to write the Bible or whatever, and do because there's in some psalms it has his name Willie, and then the next one that says Lynch, whatever. I can't remember the verse and whatever. Yeah, but anyway, people said he didn't help to write Bible. But basically, there's a thing that's on the blacks called Willie Lynch syndrome. Yeah, what Willie Lynch says is if he turns the light skinned person against the dark skinned person, yeah, then that's what they did, and that's part of the religion. So for 400 years, we will have what we are having now. We're fighting against each other. We'll never see eye to eye. Yeah, because of how they make it, the house slave, the separating, you know what I mean, in segregation, like the house slave against the field slave. Yeah, like I said, if we were supposed to go for an interview, all three of you were supposed to go for an interview, there's a very good chance that they drive the lighter one would have probably get the easier job or get the job first over Kashantia, and then Kashantia probably would have get it over Demonike because of the skin complexion. Yeah. So you still got it today. We still got that in. So do you know Jamaicans are racist against their own people? It's mad, isn't it? Because you think everyone is black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but it's not. They don't see it as that because people see themselves as classism in it, like this, like telling themselves that oh they are better than you because they are lighter than you. That's why now you got people bleaching their skin, trying to be lighter because they think that being lighter is more acceptable to society. Yeah, so they will bleach just to get light to say oh I want to be light because they feel it's a mind thing. You understand? But you have to believe in yourself and know whatever complexion God made you, you are who you are. And you have to love yourself first before you love anyone else. You understand? I would never bleach. I would never, you know what I mean? I am who I am. You know? I'm not going to try and look lighter for who. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but then you will have a next set of Jamaican people who will see me and they was like, oh, I'm black and ugly. You understand? Why they're black too. Yeah. So it's like, you know what I mean? That in Jamaica, they say the pot cussing the kettle, or the kettle cussing the pot. You know what I mean? Which is both, you know what I mean? They're both black.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, it's mad. Yeah. And you'd not expect that you'd have that thing in Jamaica, like amongst, you know what I mean, its own people. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know places in Jamaica that like, for example, there's beaches in Jamaica that Jamaican people can't go to. Yeah, they're not allowed to go there or to swim on the same waters like tourists or white people, whatever. It's mad, isn't it? There's organizations, there's places there that they are not allowed in. There was an hotel in Jamaica that they burnt it down because no Jamaicans was allowed in there. Exactly. And I'm talking off recent. I'm not talking no 40 years ago or nothing like that. I'm talking off recent. Like, you know what I mean, a few years ago. So these things does happen. Yeah. So yeah, it's sad, but it's reality, it's facts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we just have to just like I said, you guys just know yourselves, know what you want. Yeah, stay focused. Remember where you're from. Always remember your culture. You're black. Yeah, you're from Jamaica and you're from Africa. You understand me? Yeah, and that's the key. Don't let no one else fool you and tell you, yeah. Like I said, you're privileged to this, you're privileged to that. If you get it, yeah, you can. If you can get it, you take it. But don't tell yourself that you're what's the word?
Higher.
Privilege.
You're privileged to get it, or you know what I mean? Yeah. Are you feeling like, oh, it's due to you? Yeah, it's not. You have to work hard for whatever you want. And you probably have to work twice as hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why it's very important for you guys to, you know what I mean, go to school, learn, and get everything on par. Yeah, so any question about today's conversation? Any
No.
question, Dave? Any
Mm.
question?
How do people work at the hotel if they're not Jamaican? So was it tourists that work at the hotel then?
No, they would have got Jamaicans to work
Was it
there,
like
but
lighter?
yeah, and they would have probably got a certain, you know what I mean, yeah, but like for you to like, they would have got Jamaicans doing the work there, innit? Because obviously that was, because it's just like slave, innit? Like in some whatever context, just in a different modern day slavery, yeah. But then people that comes to the hotel is only certain people that they would accept to the hotel. So if you were there as a Jamaican and you wanted to book a room in the hotel, they'd probably tell you their house is full. We haven't got any vacancy, whatever, but which is a lie, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just how it works, innit?
Do you
So,
remember the name of the hotel?
no, I can't, but you can Google it though and see what this says in it. Yeah. The hotel that got burned down in Jamaica, and see what comes up in it. Yeah. You have anything like Nika?
No, not really.
No. Zen asleep. Knuckle. Conversation too big, it go over your head. Must be tired.
Portland, Jamaica.
Is it-
19th of Jan.
Should be a refund of
19th of January 2023.
What does it say?
Well, there's different videos. There's one from 2022, one from 2023.
Has it not? Has it not?
They don't have the name. The only
Really?
thing I saw is like Port Antonio.
Port Antonio, what about it? Hotel.
It says
burning
hotel
down.
burning down in Port Antonio.
Yeah, and what does it say? It doesn't like.
Titchfield
It's
Hill
on
Import. Titchfield Hill.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, click on that one and see what it says. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
It's not coming up.
No, there's not much information.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really say hotel. It just says 17-bedroom guest house.
Oh no, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm thinking, but yeah, there was a hotel down there that they actually burned it down because of the whole situation. They wouldn't accept Jamaicans there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's it for today anyway. So good conversation. Next time we have a next conversation about something else. You guys maybe sit down and think about what you guys wanna speak to me about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then you can go and press the stuff on that, please. Thank you. Oh,
That isn't the square.
yeah.